Hello everyone, this is Effective Technical Communication, and today we are going to learn a very important aspect of non-verbal communication. So, first of all, let us understand what is the meaning of non-verbal. Now, to understand that, we will first understand what is the meaning of verbal. Verbal means usage of words. So, non-verbal means when words are not used. So, any communication that happens without the use of words is called non-verbal communication. And today we are going to understand a very important and impactful component of non-verbal communication, that is kinesics. Now, what is the meaning of kinesics? Kinesics is the study of body language. So we all know that body language has a lot of impact on our communication. It enhances our communication. It gives more meaning to our communication. So how does it give more meaning to our communication? Let us understand that. And we will also understand different components of kinesics so that we can imbibe all those and enhance our communication. So learning kinesics will actually help us in making our communication better. So to begin with, the first component of kinesics is the physical appearance. We all know that people see us even before they hear us. And we also know that first impression is the last impression. So we make our first impression through our physical appearance. So what kind of physical appearance is expected in the professional world? So as we all know that we must wear formals. Formal wear has colors which are very decent and very simple clothing. We must also dress up neatly with a clean hairstyle or cleanly cut hair. We must wear neat and polished shoes and always avoid wearing bright colors. So to take an example, the formals for men can be a simple plain shirt or maybe shirt with stripes with a very decent color paired with an appropriate pant or a trouser with polished shoes. They can also use a tie or a blazer, which can be according to the organization's requirement. Similarly, a women formal consists of a shirt and a trouser. Again, you can pair it with a blazer according to the requirement of your organization. And the Indian formals for women are salwar kameez and the sari. So when your physical appearance is appropriate or when your physical appearance is impressive, then you can create an impact on the receiver's mind or to whom you are communicating. So when people see you, people will start taking seriously. For example, imagine a person with long hair and wearing long earrings, a man who has long hair wearing long earrings and coming in a short. Will you seriously listen to that person in a corporate? Obviously not. You will have an impression of some crazy person or maybe an artist. So that is an appropriate dressing for the artist. But in the corporates, there is another kind of appropriate dressing. So if you wear something which is decent, people will take you seriously. So that is the impact of physical appearance. Now the next component of kinesics is the eye contact. Eye contact is very, very important. When you are speaking to someone, you must always make an eye contact with that person because it helps the listener or the audience to connect with you and the topic. The moment you lose the eye contact, the listener will be disinterested in listening to you or will be disconnected from the topic. So you must always make an eye contact when you are speaking to someone. And when you are speaking to many people at the same time, you should always keep on moving your eye contact. That is, you have to make an eye contact with each and every person to whom you are talking to. But suppose you are addressing a large number of people, a huge crowd, then making an eye contact is very difficult. You cannot make an eye contact with everyone. So what will you do at that time? You must see on every side so that you include each and every part of the hall where you are making a presentation or giving a speech. So that will make the audience connected to the topic. Now, eye contact also plays an important role in gaining the trust of the listener. So imagine, suppose a child has done a mischief and the father has discovered that. And the father asks the child, but the child lies in front of the father. Will the child make an eye contact with the father, or will he talk without an eye contact? Definitely he will not make an eye contact. And still the father understands that the child is lying, because we always tend to avoid eye contact in case of when we are saying a lie, or when we are not confident about what we are saying, and when we are not confident about ourselves. So eye contact works in many ways. It gains the trust of the listener, as well as it shows your confidence on your own self as well as on your communication. How much you believe in your communication will make you make an eye contact with the listeners. So that is why eye contact is very, very important as a speaker. But it is also very important as a listener. As a listener, if you make an eye contact with the speaker, it shows that you are listening with interest and focus. The moment you don't make an eye contact with the speaker, then the speaker understands that you have lost interest in listening. So eye contact has a great impact in your communication, and it helps in making the communication effective. Because the more the eye contact is there, the better is the understanding of the communication. So that will clarify the points in less time, and there will be no misunderstandings. So that is the importance of eye contact. But the only care you should take while making an eye contact is that you should not stare at one person when you are talking to a crowd, because it will make that person conscious and the others will also lose interest in listening to you. So the next component of kinesics is the facial expressions. Now facial expressions tells a lot. It talks about what are your feelings about your topic, or it talks about what do you feel about what you are saying. Now facial expressions can be used in many ways. You can emphasize, or you can put more weight on what you are speaking, or you can give more clarity to your verbal communication by using your facial expressions. For example, you can use the expression of a smile when you are really happy when you are talking. But usually what kind of facial expression we should use? We must always use a pleasant facial expression. And while communicating, we must always show an enthusiasm on our face. Because when we show a pleasant expression and when we show that enthusiasm, it is contagious and we can pass on that pleasantness and enthusiasm to others. So that will help connect us with others. The moment we are able to connect with others, they will be ready to listen to us. So a pleasant facial expression helps us a lot. Another way of using facial expression is changing our facial expression according to our verbal communication. That means that according to our content, we need to change our facial expressions. So let us see some examples of different facial expressions. We can change a facial expression of happiness. We can show some disgust. We can show shock. We can even show indifference, or we can show when it is something funny through our facial expressions. So facial expressions adds a lot to your verbal communication, and you must use your facial expression appropriately along with your verbal communication. But remember, your facial expression should be aligned with your verbal communication. It should not be incongruent from your verbal communication. That means your words are saying something else and your facial expressions are saying something else. So this is the importance of facial expressions. Now coming to the next component of kinesics, which is the gestures. What is the meaning of gestures? Gestures means hand movements. So we all know that we can use our hands to show certain things when we are talking to people. So for example, we may use our hands to show the shapes. We may use our hands to show a place, or we may use our hands to show the size of something when we are explaining something to people. But when we don't want to show the shapes or sizes or a place, how do we use our hands? We may keep on moving our hands when we want to express certain things. We may sometimes even emphasize using our hands. But when we don't want to use our hands along with something which is verbal, or when our hand movement doesn't go with our verbal communication, what do we do with our hands? Should we keep them in our pockets? No, that is a negative gesture. Keeping your hands inside your pockets when you are communicating with someone shows defensiveness, arrogance, and shyness. Also, folding your hands like this also shows defensiveness, shyness, and arrogance. You must also not fidget with anything which is in your hand, like a pen or a keychain, because it shows nervousness. So how do you keep your hands? If you want to fold your hands, you must always keep one hand on the other and keep your thumb open just like this. That is a positive gesture. Also, you may use your hands like this when you're talking to many people. A very humble and a very impactful gesture is the namaste gesture. You can use your hands like this when you are addressing many people. Now, initially, this gesture may feel very awkward, but once you have the practice of using these gestures, you will be able to use it very conveniently and you will feel very confident about using this gesture. So, using the appropriate gestures is very, very important. Now, suppose if you want to call out a person, you should never point out with your finger. You should always use an open hand gesture. Again, when you are talking to a large number of people, you must use your both hands like this so that you can include everyone who is there in the audience. This will help the audience to connect to you. So this is the impact of gestures. And by using the gestures appropriately, you can enhance your communication a lot. So now coming to the last component of kinesics, which is the posture. So what is the meaning of posture? Posture means the way we sit, stand, or walk. So how should we sit, stand, or walk? The only one important thing about the posture is that we must always keep a straight posture. We must sit straight, stand straight, and walk straight. Standing straight shows confidence. If you are talking to someone with your shoulders drooping down, it will show low confidence. And people don't like to listen to people who have less confidence. So definitely, to be a good communicator, you must have a straight posture. Again, if you are sitting, you must keep your posture straight. Particularly when you are a listener, your posture while you are sitting should be straight. Because when you have a straight posture, it shows that you are listening with interest and concentration. If you are leaning backwards while sitting, it shows laziness or sometimes even arrogance or disinterest. When you lean a little forward while sitting, it shows even more interest. So people in marketing can make out when the client is more interested and when the client is not interested at all. So these are the postures of a listener while sitting. Now, some people may even ask that is it so that we use these postures so that we can fool the speaker that we are listening with concentration? So the answer to this is no, it is not like that. But the more we sit straight, it also has a biological reason. Our spinal cord will be straight, and because of that, certain chemicals are secreted in our brains, and which will help us to focus even more. So it is both way. When you are sitting straight, it gives an impression that you are listening with focus, and if you are not focused and you start sitting straight, the focus will come automatically. So you must always try to imbibe such kinds of postures. So today we learned a very important aspect of non-verbal communication, that is kinesics. And if you are able to use the body language, then you will be able to make your communication very, very effective.